Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome to Lisma English Lesson. I'm Lisma Tiana as English teacher here. Welcome to the class. So, in this video, I would like to explain about educational technology and other teaching equipment. So, here I have the mind mapping here. And there are 7 points from the educational technology and other teaching equipment here. Because this mind mapping is really small, and I'll give you in the screen. Let's go into the explanation. As language teacher, we use a variety of teaching aids to explain language meaning and contraction, engage students in a topic or a basic of a whole activity. 7 points from the educational technology and other teaching equipment, and here I'm gonna explain one by one of the point. For the first is picture and images. Teachers have always used picture or graphic, whether drawn, taken from books, newspaper, magazine, or photograph to facilitate learning. Picture can be the form of flashcard, wall picture, cue card, and photograph or illustration. As you can see from the screen, and picture and images has 6 functions, and there are, from the first is drill, used for picture, especially flashcard as in a cue response drills, and then before nominating a student and getting a response, then we hold up another one and nominate a different student, and so on. Sometimes teacher puts students in pairs or group and give them some cue cards so that when a student pick up the top cue card in a pile, he or she has to say a sentence that the card suggests. And the second is communication games. Pictures are extremely useful for a variety of communication activity, especially where they have a game like fields such as describe and draw activity. The third is understanding. One of the most appropriate use for picture is for the presenting and checking of meaning, an easy way to explain the meaning of the word. Fourth is ornamentation. Pictures of various kinds are often used to make words more appealing in many modern courses books. Next is prediction. Pictures are useful for getting students to predict what is coming next in a lesson. The student might look at a picture and try to guess what is shown. The last is discussion. Picture can stimulate question like, what is the showing? How does it make you feel? Something like that. And the second point is the overhead projector or visual material. The function is to show text or grammar exercise, picture or diagram, student writing. And the advantage from the overhead projector is can show anything. And the third point is the board. The most versatile piece of the teaching equipment is the board. Whether this is of the more traditional type, the Spherity, or the whiteboard written on with marker pens. Board provide a motivating focal point during whole class grouping. And we can use board for a variety of different purposes, including for the first purpose is not fat. A teacher frequently write things up on the board as these come up during the lesson. They might be words that they want students to remember, and phrase which students have not understood or seen before, or like a topic and phrases which they have elicited from students when trying to build up a composition plan. And the second purpose is explanation aid. Board can be used for explanation too, where, for example, we show the relationship between an affirmative sentence and a question by drawing connecting a row. And the next purpose is picture frame. Board can be used for drawing picture, of course. The only limitation being or artistic ability, but even those who are not artistically gifted can usually draw a sad face and a happy face. What is more, this can be done whenever it is required by because the board is always there helping students to understand concept and work. Next purpose is public workbook. A typical producer is to write up fill-in sentence or sentence transformation item. For example, and I have individual student come up to the board and write a fill-in item or a transform sentence. Next purpose is game board. There are a number of games that can be played using the board with nouns and crosses. For example, teacher can draw 9 box frames and write different words or categories in each box. Teams have to make sentence or a question with the word, and if they can get them right, they can put their symbol on the square to draw their winning streak line. And the last purpose is notice board. Teacher and student can stick things on board, picture, poster, announcement, chart, and etc. This is especially useful if they are metallic boards so that magnet can be used. And the third point is Pears and Peaches. Of course, there is no limit to the various bits and pieces which we can bring into the classroom. In here, 3 particular items are worth consider in this category. For the first is realia, with beginners and particularly children. Lifelike items are useful for teaching the meanings of words. Teachers sometimes appear in the classroom with a plastic grid, cardboard, clock piece, or 2 telephones to help stimulate phone conversation. The second is language card. Many teachers put a variety of cards and posters around the classroom. Such posters can have notes about language items on them. Cards are also useful for matching activity, where students have to find another student in the class with a similar card, or one that has the answer to the question on his or her card. And the last is question rod. There are small blocks of wood of different lengths, and each length is a different color. The roots are featureless and are only differentiated by their size and color. Simple they may be, but they are useful for a wide range of activity. And the fifth point is the language laboratory. Modern language laboratory has between 10 or 20 booths. It's equipped a tape deck, headphones, microphone, and now computers. And language laboratory have 3 special characteristics which mark them out from other learning resources. First is double track. The design of tabs and machines means that students can listen to one track on their tabs and record on another. They can then listen back not only to the original recording on the tab, but also to what they themselves say into the microphone, which is attached to the headset. Second one is teacher access. Apart from the separate language booth, laboratories also have a console and or computer terminal made by a teacher who can not only listen in to the individual student, but can also talk with the use of microphone and headset with one student at a time. And the last characteristic is different modes. From the console, the teacher can decide whether or not to have all the students working at the same time and speed in lockstep because they are all listening to the master tab. Next is going to the advantages of the language laboratory. For the first advantage is comparing. The double track allows students to compare the way they say things with the correct pronunciation on a source tab. In this way, they can monitor and get feedback on their own performance even without the intervention of the teacher. And next is privacy. Students can talk to each other, record into the tab, wind and rewind tabs, or type on computer keyboard without disturbing their colleagues. Next is individual attention. When teachers want to speak to individual students in a laboratory, they can do so from the console. The attention that teacher gives to one student does not distract the other. And the next advantage is learning and learner training. The linguist laboratory helps to train some students to really listen to what they say and how they say it. When they compare their pronunciation with the correct version on the tab, they begin to notice the difference. And this awareness over a period helps them to hear and pronounce English better. Next is learner motivation, a worry about learner autonomy in general and self-access center in particular, is that some students are better at working on their own than others. And we going to the activities in linguist laboratory. For the first activities is repetition. The simplest use of a double-track laboratory is repetition. Students hear a word, phrase, or sentence on the tape. And the second one is drills. Based on audio-lingual methodology, linguist laboratories have often been used for substitution drills using the same basic model as the repetition example above. Next is speaking. Linguist laboratories can give students the opportunity of speaking. They can record their own talk and speeches and then listen back to them and make adjustments in the same way as they draft and read draft written text in a process writing approach. In a language laboratory, individual students can play and replay questions until they are sure what they are being asked. From the console, teacher can listen and give focus individual feedback too. Next is pairing, double plugging, and telephoning. Almost any interactive or speaking activity can be performed by students at different booths who are paired together. They can describe objects or people for others to identify. Next is parallel speaking. From the Adrian Underhill, that's give two examples of parallel speaking, where students are encouraged to imitate the way the teacher says something, and because of the double track system, do so at the same time as the teacher is speaking. Next is listening. Listening of all kinds can be practiced in the linguist laboratory. Activities such as note-taking, dictation, finding difference between a writing text and a typed account of the same event, and answering comprehension questions can all be performed successfully in the laboratory setting. Next is reading. Students can read text and then record their answer on the tab. In computer-equipped laboratories, both text and answer can be supplied on the computer screen itself. Next is writing and correcting writing. Language laboratories allow teachers to give individual private spoken feedback on student written works. In computer-equipped laboratories, students can write at their individual machines, and the teacher can then correct their work either orally or in writing, since he or she can look at each student's work from the console. Going to the sixth point, it's what computers are for. And currently, the main uses for computer in linguistics teaching include the following. For the first is reference. One of the chief uses of computer either through the internet or on CD, DVD, ROMs is as a reference tool. And the second is teaching and testing programs. Language teaching software package often supplied on CD-ROM. After students the chance to study conversation and text, to do grammar and vocabulary exercise, and even to listen text and record their own voice. Next is email exchange. One of the main uses for computer which are hooked up to the internet is as senders and recipients of an email, allowing easy access to people all over the world. Next is website. Almost any website has potential for students of English. They can go and visit a virtual museum for a project on history or science. Next is the word processor. From the article of Alison Fever suggests that the most successful educational use of the computer at the time was as a word processor, with students grouped around a screen, drafting and redacting collaboratively. Now we're going to the seventh point, or the last point, is homegrown material production. Many of the picture, card, or OHTs or realia items which we bring into a class will have been made or designed by teachers themselves. And when we make our own material for classroom use, having taken care that our materials are linkable, clear, attractive, and durable so that we can use them more than once. And we can follow a simple 5-step procedure. First step is planning. Homegrown materials start with planning. We need to decide what our aim and project are, what activity we want to involve the student in, how we want them to be grouped, and what the content of material should be. The second is trialing. It is absolutely vital to try out our material before taking it into the lesson. Next is evaluating. When we have produced and trialed our material, we take it into the lesson and use it. This is where we need to observe carefully in order to evaluate its appropriacy. Next is classifying. When we have used material in the classroom, we need to find some way to storing it and classifying it so that we can lay our hands on it quickly the next time we want to use it. Yeah, we're going to the last is record keeping. We need to keep a record of what material we have used together with evaluation of how well it has worked. This will present us for using the same material twice with the same class, and it will help us to our long-term planning. So guys, that's all about my explanation from the educational technology and other teaching equipment and the 7 point of that. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Bye!